Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you may be joining us from the world, we welcome you. Today, we are going to be exploring healthy habits. My name is Tamara Hunter, and I am your host. And without further ado, let's get to our fabulous panel. Today, we are joined from many from all over the United States. And I'm going to say hello to them all and have them introduce themselves to you, our listening audience. First of all, I did say I'm Tamara Hunter. However, I didn't mention where I'm at. I am today in Missouri. I'll leave it at that. Okay, next, Nori.
I am Nori Love, and I am tucked in the mountains of West Virginia today.
Very cool. Cheryl? You're on mute. It's live, guys.
I'm Cheryl Meyer, was muted, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles.
And Caprice.
I'm Caprice Crebar with 4 Healthy Connections, and I'm currently visiting family in Northern California, but from Southern California.
Excellent. And Jill.
And I'm Jill Reynolds, and I'm coming to you from Branson, Missouri.
Woohoo! In the Ozarks. We know that. Okay, we're going to introduce everybody a little bit more by some video. So let's get to it.
The Connection Show. Inspiring hope, health, healing. Connecting the dots of your story and transforming your life. Sponsored by Braveheart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds.
And I'm Jill Reynolds because I have realized over the years how God has molded me and healed me to become the best me that I can be through my recovery from 41 years this month, February, of crack cocaine addiction and alcoholism, 31 years from codependency, and going on 7 years this year for my eating disorder of restricting and avoiding meals and then binge eating. I've been on this wellness journey and healing journey for all those 41 years, and I have found that my life has moved from victim to victory.
That is fabulous. Victim to victory. Okay, next up, Lori Love.
Tour of Love. My name is Nori Love. I am from the Center for Radiant Wellbeing. So we're just going to do a quick little workout. Welcome, amazing almost Reiki practitioners, to Reiki Level 1. I'm so excited and thrilled. And then every Tuesday we can meet for 30-40 minutes just to practice, to process, to do Q&A, and sometimes just the original one. So the philosophy of Reiki is rooted in the principles or the precepts. Just for today, take your opposite earlobe with your opposite index finger and thumb. So just grab your earlobe. So then you notice the cross-body movement. Okay, guys, start guessing.
Alligator.
Oh my God!
I love you, Joan.
And next we have, well, you know, I can't tell you if she's Wonder Woman or a Muse, but you know what? Let's see who's next.
It just went past my brain so quick, I didn't stop to think about it. And so I want to ask you all right now to go into your body.
Uh-oh.
It just went past my brain so quick, I didn't stop to think about it. And so I want to ask you all right now to go into your body and ask yourself, how do you feel? Because unless you start...
Well, I don't know what's happening there. I'm so sorry. But we'll be learning more. And we've got a mute issue or a feedback issue. So if I can have everybody mute for right now, and then when we speak, we'll have you unmute. Last but not least, and Cheryl, we'll figure out what's going on.
Hi, I'm Caprice Crebar of For Healthy Connections, and I believe that it takes many voices to help emphasize the great importance of taking good care of your health. I am really passionate as a certified health coach, a person that's been specializing in plant nutrition. And I believe it's important that we all do find out what our body's supposed to feel like. We are just used to fueling our bodies with things that tear it down rather than build it up. And we only have one body. So I'm here to help you take care of it. I'm very passionate. I help people get simple solutions to ensure you're getting plenty of plant-based nutrients every single day. And one of the things that I share to push produce, like I love to do, is a way that you can grow your own produce aeroponically. I've been doing this for 12 years. Not only is it very rewarding, it's wonderful to show your children where food comes from, how they can actually grow and eat their own food, and how much more nutritious that is, so that your kids, your family, those you love can understand and feel what your body was designed to feel like. I am really passionate about helping women and the people that they love take better care of their health, get those plant-based nutrients, adopt healthy lifestyle habits, grow your own food so that you can live out a life with vitality, with more energy, with better health from the inside out. And I think that we want to layer as many healthy solutions, modalities that we can so that we can feel our very best and show up feeling great, looking great, and being the healthiest you can be.
Well, now we at least have an idea of most of our panelists, and we will figure out what was going on with Cheryl's video here soon. And I want to welcome all of you that are here joining us. We have Helene, Carol Brown. We want to say Caroline Brown. We want to say special shout out to her, who is our production assistant and helps us with so much. We have so many joining us, and we want to welcome you and share the love. You are all fabulous. All right, so let's get to it. I have a question, and I'm going to ask it here, and so that we can start our conversation. Who would like to start? Raise your hand. Okay, Caprice, you get to go in and take yourself off. There you go.
Sure. So the question, how do you start healthy habits?
Start or let's say revisit, or, like, let's just say today, for the last few days, you haven't been in the healthiest habits. You know it. We came off the holidays. We came off of travel, on and on. Now it's like, okay, today is this show. I'm ready. How do you start?
Well, that's a great question. I work with people all the time that are just fed up with tired of feeling tired, tired of being tired. And so you start with one simple step. It's a lot to bite off, when you're thinking, I want to go from how I am today to a healthier person. So what I always suggest is, we all pretty much know what to do. We want to choose more nutritious foods, eliminate toxic things, things we put on our skin, inside our bodies, the things we can control. And because there's other things we can't, right? So what we can't control, hydrating more, drinking more water, exercising more, being more mindful, getting more sleep. It's a lot to do at once. So start with one. What's an area that you're falling short? Maybe it's drinking more water. Most people can improve their health just by drinking at least half their body weight in ounces of water a day. So choose that for 1 month and focus on, every day, getting the optimal amount of water. You'll get in that habit. Second month, you choose more plants on your plate. Third month, you work on your fitness. Not to say you're ignoring it, but you just really focus intentionally. by the end of 12 months, you'll be a whole new person with all kinds of healthy habits that your body prefers. And it will start to tell you that it prefers to stay that way if you go back to some of the unhealthy habits.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Who would like to piggyback off of that? Jill. And then we'll go to Cheryl, and then we'll go to Nori.
Yeah, I'd like to say where to start is a planned program of recovered eating. And I use that terminology because many of us have come from backgrounds of disordered eating. And so a planned program of recovered eating is to have your first meal an hour after you rise. When we allow our bodies to go for long lengths of time without nutrition, our body's insulin, glucose, and cortisol levels will spike throughout the day. So in recovery from recovered eating, from eating disorders, I've learned you eat your first meal an hour after rising, within rising, and then each meal thereafter never go past 4.5 hours so that your levels are balanced throughout the day. And you can do smaller size meals throughout the day.
So that's how you do it. I always wondered, they always say have little meals, throughout the day, but having that formula every 4.5 hours, an hour after you rise, and then every 4.5 hours, that's good. Write it down, guys. Make sure I said have your pen and paper close. Okay, we are going to try once more before Cheryl comes on. We're going to try showing her video.
It just went past my brain so quick, I didn't stop to think about it. And so I want to ask you all right now to go into your body and ask yourself, how do you feel? Because unless you start nodding in with your body on a regular basis, you're going to miss it too. I am CherylM Health Muse. I'm a muse because I want to inspire you to be at your very best health. And I became a health muse after getting autoimmune disease 7 years ago. Everything in my body hurt, every bone, every joint. So I went to the doctor and they ran tests over and over and over again, had no clue what was wrong with me. And the doctor called me and said, I'm going to give you steroids, but there's nothing wrong with you and I want you to seek therapy. I got news. There's something wrong with me because I hurt. So I turned my business over to my staff and I started researching. And CherylM Health Muse was born. Why do I want to be Wonder Woman? Because Wonder Woman has the same two nemesis that I talk about. She's fighting Dr. Poison and the Duke of Deception. And that's who I'm going to talk to you about today because they're lurking in your life. They were lurking in mine far more than I had any idea. And so to understand why I'm so passionate about this, I'm going to go back a little bit and tell you my story. And then I'm going to tell you why this is important to you. I'm a health coach. I'm an award-winning author of a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good. Learn to reduce toxins, reduce your inflammation, and feel great again, which has now won 14 awards. I'm a podcaster. I am a local TV personality. I'm a health coach, and I am a speaker because I want to reach as many people with my information as I can.
Okay, off mute, and love to hear what you have to say.
Well, first I want to point out to you, I've lost 65 pounds and you can see the difference in that video to me now. And how did I do it? I did it without dieting. I, like Caprice, am a huge believer, only I call it in eating the rainbow. I want you to eat every single color of all the plant food that's available. And then I want you to eat quality protein, which is probably different than Caprice's approach, but I want you to eat protein where the animal ate what he was put on this earth to eat. So I want you to eat grass-fed cows and grass-fed sheep and chickens that run around in the pasture and eat bugs and berries and grass because they also have all the phytonutrients in them. And then when we eat them, we get all the phytonutrients. We need phytonutrients in order to be healthy. And it took me 5 years of eliminating toxins and changing my diet, and I came back to no pain. So it was enormous. And that's when I went back to school to talk to all of you.
I love it. I love it. And Nori, now, Nori, one thing you didn't bring up, and I do know because, and I want to say there are many on this panel that have been supporting the nonprofit that I am the president and founder or co-founder of. And that's where the tour of love at the very beginning, I just had to add that in because it was like, ode to you doing the video during the 36-hour event. I wanted to say thank you for that. You know, so many of you, Cheryl comes in and she teaches us about so much. And in fact, you know, there's so many hearts here, guys. And I want to recognize something that was said by Emily. Yes, tired of being tired. So you are also, with everything else, you're also a registered nurse. So you come from the registered nurse background and then went into what it is you're now doing with your holistic health and running the institute that you are and helping people through exercise and so much more, the Reiki. So I wanted to bring that up because it wasn't in really the clip. So what would you like to share in regards to the question?
Well, I'd like to, first of all, how could I possibly follow these amazing women with the practical and, you know, rich information that they gave? So I would like to take it back a little bit and define what a habit is. A habit is something that we keep doing, right? A habit is something that we keep doing. So now I'm a law of attraction life coach, so I'm going to be pulling from that. Everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. Our thoughts, our actions, the mouse screen, everything is energy. And God gave us this beautiful power to create with the energy. So I want to diffuse, I want to take the sting out of the word habits, because habits can make us feel really bad when we think about them. And why does that happen? Because many of them are cemented with emotions. Many of them are cemented with pain, right? Not feeling worthy enough. That's why we go to the habit, right? Not feeling good enough, not feeling deserving. Maybe we're fear of rejection. Pixie wants to talk to. Maybe there's grief and sorrow. So we turn to these things, right? We create a medicine, right, to help us with the pain that we're feeling. And then that medicine is what solidifies that habit. So back in the day, teaching aerobics was my medicine. You know, I was habitually teaching aerobics because I came from an obese background. And you would think, oh, well, exercise is excellent. But, right, the rapidity, the frequency with which I did it, I had to take a look at that and go, you know what? This is probably not a great habit. I need to balance it out. So my goal today is to take the charge out of the word habit and any feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach, and know that it all begins with a desire, a desire to change. That's where it begins. And sometimes, you know, you have that fleeting, sick feeling in your gut, and you're like, oh yeah, there's that thing. And then let that feeling wash through you, and then create a desire for what you do want. Because changing a habit doesn't mean we erupt the wind and pull them out and throw them away. We gently replace them with good feeling experiences, or any of the practical things that these beautiful women gave, right? Good feeling experiences. So all of a sudden you're following these good feeling experiences, and then you look back like, oh my goodness, that habit fell away. So I want to just inspire people to know that if you have a habit, you really, really, really can heal it. You really can.
You know, thank you for mentioning it that way, because I had never thought of it that way. And I'm always learning, and I have my pen and paper here. I want to recognize again that we have so many here, and we have had a couple of questions. And instead of my questions, I actually think it's really wonderful to open it up to those that are here. So if you guys have a question, ask it now so we can get to it in time. And I'm looking right here. Do you have any suggestions for someone that has an enzyme deficiency? Does anybody? Okay, we have a ticker on that one. If you want to unmute yourself, Jill, and let us know what your thoughts are.
Absolutely. Yes. The number one thing that I've learned for enzyme deficiency is gut-brain health. When your gut is not healthy and your gut and your brain talk together, but most people don't understand there's 3 levels. It's gut, brain, and heart health. And so I am a brand partner for Amari Global, which is the mental wellness company. And they created a product called the Fundamentals. In the first year out the door, out of 8,000 manufacturers product, they won the Nutra Awards, which is like winning the Academy Awards for nutritional supplementation. And it comes with MentaSync, Mentabiotics, MentaFocus, and MentaHeart to sync the gut, the brain, and the heart together, which optimizes the enzyme deficiency.
Excellent. Thank you. Anybody else like to add anything to that? Cheryl? Okay.
I want you to have your magnesium checked, because magnesium is responsible for 500 different enzyme reactions in your body, but magnesium needs vitamin D3 in your body, so get that checked at the same time, because there's a marriage and a synergy that happens between the two that then allows them to function and to create balance in your body. So get them checked every time you go to the doctor, because that will help you get your enzymes back in balance.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on this topic? Anybody?
I agree with both of these ladies, and of course, diet's always going to be number one. Getting more plant-based nutrition, because, like Cheryl said, the balance in the body comes from, and also Jill said this, the balance comes from feeding your gut microbiome. So the healthy bacteria needs to be fed, and one of the best prebiotics for that is plants. So the more plant-based that you can eat, the more you're going to feed those good guys in your gut that directly impacts your brain, directly impacts your immune system. It just helps the body function overall better, which would include improving the enzyme.
Okay, sorry to step on your words. I have a question, kind of a follow-up because of the gut and everything like this. All right, I come from the school, and my mother, she was one that wanted to, I think if she could have gone into nutrition and everything, she would have, but it was back in the day where they thought, oh yeah, we do it this way and that way. And she was really into like kefir and into the yogurts and into, all the probiotics way back in the 70s, if you will. That dates me a bit. But, nowadays you see all this stuff out there for the gut health, and you're talking about the plant-based and everything. The probiotics that were mentioned, something like a kefir, because that's more of like a milk. I don't know if it's a milk base or a yogurt base or what it is, but is that still something that's valid, or did it go away with the decades that have passed? Just questioning. Who would like to answer that? Okay. Go ahead.
It's valid, but there are lots of ways to feed your gut bacteria and to have a healthy gut. Certainly, all of those things that are fermented are really good for your gut, but you also need fiber, which is really good for your gut. And believe it or not, your little guys in your tummy, they need to eat too. So you eat prebiotics, which is the fiber and the artichokes and jicama, and there's a whole family of garlic and onion that feed your good gut bacteria so that they can thrive, because when they thrive is when your body and your health thrives. And yes, you get a lot of that from eating all the colors of the rainbow. So 70% of what you eat ought to be plant food so that your biome is the best that it can be, because that's where your health begins.
I love it. Okay, I put it like this, and so it's more of a panel right now. Jump in if you have anything else that you want to add on this.
I would suggest just being very good at determining what a good probiotic is, because as Cheryl said, you can get it from so many foods, and the prebiotics to feed that bacteria in your gut is so important. It's symbiotic. They work together. And but there are other things like the kefir. I would just beware of just buying any kefir from the grocery store, and really knowing about the bacterial strains, that you're getting from whatever products you're using to add to your probiotic wealth, because some are better than others. And like I, for instance, have a source for a vegan probiotic yogurt, and it's phenomenal. And I haven't seen anything with as many strains that are going to help feed those gut bacteria, like Jill just mentioned.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody else that'd like to jump in?
So I would like to jump in just to dovetail on what everybody's saying. That I'm sorry, there's construction out. There's somebody with a buzzsaw outside, so I hope you can't hear that. When you become aware of the fact that you may want to change your diet and feel better, once you make that statement to yourself, to your cells, because your cells are listening to God and the universe, things are going to begin coming to you. You're going to get little intuitive hits on things that, you know what, maybe I should get my enzymes checked. What is kefir? Maybe I'll look at what kefir is. You know, what about yogurt? What is it, you know, that I'm feeling off at? You know, any little subtle thing that comes by, that comes to you, trust that and allow yourself to follow up on that.
I love that. And it makes me think of, I have to just chime in here. It's reminding me of being a kid, because we made our own yogurt at home. You know, we had one of those little yogurt maker things, and it dates again. So, okay. It was asked right here. How do you handle multiple illnesses when certain things are good for you, but due to another illness, you can't have it? So that, you know, that like, okay, it's good for Paul, but it's not good for Peter. It's good for Peter, but not for Paul. What does anybody want to say here?
I'm going through that right now with my dad. That's why I'm here in Northern California. He just had kidney failure. And unfortunately, this is a great example. You know, love my dad. He's a smart guy, but he didn't listen to good advice, and he didn't change his diet. So it's proof, you know, that you continue to pour something into your body, you know, things that aren't fueling it and are hurting it, it will end up failing on you. And this happened. So I'm learning a lot about that. And he also has a heart issue. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis. There's all types of things. So you just do your research. It's going to be a little bit more challenging, but even with the kidney diet, the dialysis diet, there's so many great things he can still eat. So you just have to be a bit more cautious, because you've got to study both what's good for that and make sure that you're not, like you said, robbing Peter to pay Paul. But just, there's so many cookbooks out there. There's so many ways, even TikToks and Instagrams, and where they're showing you great recipes. You will be able to do it. You just have to do your research and pay attention. Don't ignore it, because if you ignore it and you just cheat here and there, it's just going to tax your body more. And we want you to stay, vital and energetic and healthy as long as you possibly can.
I love it. I love it. And let's see. Oh, always. And I ask lots of questions to trusted practitioners. And that goes into another subject matter here that I'm just going to bring Cheryl up, because she's had that. You talk about it. I think it was longer, into your presentation, which I just loved it. And all of these women have amazing videos out there. You can look them up, or they've got websites. Write down their names. Make sure that you're looking them up after the show, because the wealth of information that is here is priceless. Let me just put that again out there. It is priceless. Your life matters, and to take control of your life right now is one thing that I'm hoping that we will help you decide to do today, because your life matters. Our lives matter. And thank you for sharing, Caprice, about your dad, because we have those family members that, and we may have even been that person ourselves, that we know that we should have been changing our diet, and maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but it's never too late. That's the way I look at it, right? And you've been through the whole gamut of practitioners, right?
I had a practitioner who told me there was nothing wrong with me. I want you to own your own health. By saying that, no matter what anybody says you, and if they tell you you're not sick, which is a lot for people with autoimmune disease, they hear that constantly. People with inflammation turns into heart disease, autoimmune disease, and cancer. It's the same root problem, and it starts with the gut. And it is not unusual when you get one syndrome to get multiple syndromes. If you don't jump on it, figure it out and start to clean it up, because you need to have a healthy gut wall, which is only as thick as a piece of tissue paper. So if you're putting the wrong stuff in your gut and it pops through, you're getting inflammation. And then there's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong with your body. When you start feeling those symptoms, that's your body talking to you. And that's why I want you to talk to yourself every morning in the mirror, because symptoms tell you it's time to wake up, it's time to start researching, and it's time to start changing and to start eating from what I call the pharmacy. FARMACY, because that's how you're going to heal your body. You're going to heal it from the inside out. And that's what I essentially ended up doing when my doctor said, guess what? There's nothing wrong with you. I had fibromyalgia. There was a lot wrong with me, but they didn't know how to find it. And I was lucky. I started trying to fix it from watching functional doctor tapes before I even knew that that was what my diagnosis was. You can do that too. There are some things you can put into place that will start to make you feel better in as short a time as a month. If you change your diet and start eating all the colors of the rainbow and talk to your body every morning, it will tell you it's starting to feel good. And that makes it worth it to keep going.
Okay. Jill, I'm going to bring you up and then I'm going to ask a question next. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, regarding the multiple illnesses that she said, I too, like Cheryl, went to about 90 doctors before I finally got a diagnosis. And so I agree with what she said too. Whenever you get tests from a doctor, always put it together if you want to keep it in a binder. I kept everything in a binder with every single lab test, and I started charting my own labs. Finally, one day I went to one doctor, brought in a binder this thick and said, instead of you taking 15 minutes to diagnose me, would you take my binder home and put in 15-minute increments for 3 months, 4 months, however you need. And he finally came back to me about 2 months later and said, I want you to get 2 blood tests for celiac disease. And he goes, go to 2 separate labs because there's so many false positive results for celiac. So I went in, found out this whole time I had celiac disease genetically since 5 years old, which had destroyed all of my small bowel. It was spiraled. There was nothing left to it. And so the first and foremost thing I want to say, because so many nutritionists and people will tell people, just go gluten-free. That is the worst thing anybody can tell someone, because gluten in gliadin is important. It's a protein that people can eat if they don't have celiac disease. So there's one organization I'll share is the University of Chicago Cure Celiac Disease. And they came out with a genetic blood test that if you have multiple illnesses, go online, ask your doctor to get you the genetic lab test, because if you do have it, it can lie dormant in your cells, causing autoimmune disease, fibromyalgia, anxiety, depressive disorders, arthritis, all these things, infertility are all symptoms of celiac disease. But don't go gluten-free before you figure it out, because if you just do, you might have the on stage of lymphoma or colon cancer, and you don't even know it.
Wow. Woo. That's a mouthful, and that's a lot right there. And thank you. Anybody else that wants to piggyback off of this before I start another? Okay.
I would
yes.
Like to
Nori.
really quickly. I want to go back to the multiple illnesses question. So when you're handling multiple illnesses and you feel like you've been hit by a truck and you don't know what to eat, and you want to eat something that's good for you, but you're not sure what to eat. I love what Cheryl said, right? Check in with your body. Take a minute, right? Don't go to the refrigerator habitually, right? Didn't we all walk in the door from school and open the refrigerator, right? And sometimes we didn't even eat anything. We just looked, right? So there's a habit, right? So don't habitually just go to the refrigerator. Take a minute, take a breath, drop into your body, and then go, body, what do you desire right now? And then let that bubble up for you. you'll always be guided to the right thing. You let your intuition guide you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I have to say, we weren't allowed to touch the refrigerator when I came home, but we had a garden in the backyard, and I was given a brown paper bag when I was a kid and said, you can eat, go get whatever you want, but whatever you fill up in that brown paper bag, you better eat it. Don't take too much. And so that was our, if you will, refrigerator when I was a little girl. And little did I know how much my mom and my stepdad were teaching us such healthy habits in that, because we had nothing but fruit and vegetables back there, and we had a hose, and that's how you washed it. You didn't even get to go to the kitchen counter. You just went to the hose. So thank you to my mom and stepdad, wherever you may be these days, and beyond. Okay, the question I want to ask, because I have a feeling a lot of people are asking this now. We're talking about food. We're talking about plant-based foods. We're talking about nutrients. And we did show a little bit of the exercise video for Nori and such. But, okay, so what is about those that have a hard relationship with food? That they may be thinking too much about it all the time. They then become, and I didn't know that habits was not a good word to use, and thank you for teaching, but that they're thinking about it, they're going and eating the wrong foods because they're thinking about it, and then they think they're craving it, and then they start having a weight issue, and then they think, okay, what do I do? And I know that, Jill, you had explained in that one video that you'd been on that, the roller coaster and such things. However, coming from your educational backgrounds, your certificates, your sitting at, many of you are health coaches, you've worked with many people. What we have, let's see, how much time do we have right now? We have approximately 20 minutes until slightly less than 20 minutes. And I know that this subject matter is an important one for many. What would you like to share with how they can approach it today in listening about all of the food choices and all of this? What are some simple steps, one simple step even, that they can take to have a healthy relationship with food, their body, their lives, and especially if they're struggling right now with any kind of food issues? Okay, since I mentioned Jill, I'm going to bring Jill up, and then Cheryl will be next. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think for me, I need to share this because I think it's so important, is I like to start with the word disordered eating. Many people out there know of anorexia. They've heard of bulimia, but 98, and some have heard of binge eating, but probably 90% of the world has not heard of some severe eating disorders that I think that need to be mentioned. The first and foremost is the one that is really running rampant, and it's an offshoot of clean eating. And that one is called orthorexia. What happens to the mind when you get into an orthorexic state? When your mind is thinking consistently all day long about food, pause and know that there could be that you've transferred from disordered eating into a severe eating disorder of orthorexia, which has to do with people being told all day long, everything has to be clean, everything has to be clean, everything has to be clean, else you're going to die. So what happens is their mind becomes so disoriented that they no longer can go to family functions. They can't eat at restaurants because the food might not be clean enough. So please, everyone, Google orthorexia, read about it if this is something that you might be struggling with. The next one that's really very important is called bigorexia. And that has to do with people that you see in the gym that are going to the gym and they're bodybuilding weights that are like 2-3 times bigger than their own bodies. They look in the mirror and they have body dysmorphia. They don't think they have any muscle mass, but the muscles actually pulling out of their bodies and causing distress. The one that we've talked about is exercise. Many people that I was in treatment with had the eating disorder of excessive exercising, where they would exercise literally laying on the floor in their bedroom, doing hundreds and hundreds of sit-ups to burn off every single calorie they input for the day because they didn't want to gain weight. So excessive exercise can be a disordered eating. Last but not least is restrictive avoidance disorder. It's when You become so afraid of certain food. I knew of someone who would take a piece of pizza and pat it for 20 minutes with a paper towel to make sure all the fat got off of the pizza. And she would restrict food. She would like take a grape and eat it really slowly, restricting all of her food, which then leads into binge eating. So balance, not abstinence, is generally the key. And 3 things you can start to do is mindfully eat your food and do taste, texture, and temperature. As you take the bite, ask yourself, how does it taste? Is it salty? Is it crispy, crunchy? What's the texture? What's the temperature? Start being mindful when you eat. Connect with your meals. Connect with food as nutrition, not abstinence. This will prevent you from going into binge eating, because every time you go into feeling like you have to restrict everything, you'll end up binging. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Jill. Cheryl.
For everybody else who doesn't have an eating disorder, big food has actually built addiction into processed food. So you need to get yourself off of eating processed food. And processed food is everything in a box, everything in your freezer, fast food that you go through the drive-through to get, and even most restaurant food now is bought in little baggies and loaded with synthetic chemicals and sugar that are in there by industrial scientists to addict you, because big food doesn't want you to win at weight. So you are craving food all the time because they've built it in. And if you start to change to a plant-based diet and eating real whole foods, you can get off the processed food. Your body will eventually return to balance and all your cravings go away. You can actually have food freedom for the first time in your life when you break that addiction.
And many things that you've come in, and I want to thank you. I want to highlight you because you've been in many times every single month for years now, coming into our program, into our chat, and teaching us baby steps. And one of the things that I appreciate about you teaching is that you are always very big about the balance of it. Learning this stuff, but not being overwhelmed by it, and being balanced in your approach to making all of these things work for you. And I really wanted to bring that out because we're bringing up some excellent information. And someone said, I'm going to need to watch this many, many, many times because there's so much good information. There is. However, we need to remember not to be overwhelmed and take it in our baby steps, if you will. And that's one of the things I have always loved about you, Cheryl, our muse, because you've been so excellent at helping us with that. And Caprice, you raised your hand.
Yes. Well, I love what Cheryl said. I agree 1,000%. I also really liked what Jill said about the taste, texture, and temperature, because with a health challenge where you have to avoid certain things like potassium, sodium, phosphorus, which I'm really focusing on now. But, a lot of people have high blood pressure. So getting your sodium down is hard for a lot of people because they're used to that salty taste. I'm going to start using that theory, taste, texture, and temperature, because what if you do focus on that, and without the salt that we're used to having, you really start to appreciate the natural flavor of different foods. And that you'll find if you are someone that would benefit from reducing sodium. I'm using it as an example. Over time, it won't take very long for salty foods to just really be like, oh, it's too salty. Your taste buds and everything will really learn to be very happy with the natural flavors without that seasoning. And then salt will be too salty for you. And that happens pretty quickly, with the way your body adjusts that way. So thanks for that idea, Jill. I think that's brilliant.
And, I want to highlight someone that just wrote something here. And I am trying to eat healthy food so I can stay healthy. It is good to exercise and eat healthy foods. This is Dancing with Cameron. Cameron came on to Tour of Love, and with he and his aunt, and did all sorts of dances. And are you graduated from high school yet, Cameron? I mean, he is young, and he is learning right now to make healthy choices and make that determination. You are a service hero. Once again, he is a junior service hero, and he actually gets out there to make a difference in people's lives. And I wanted to recognize that. And thank you very much, Cameron, for being here with us today. And Nori, I want to get to you because you, with your background and as a nurse, you traveled as a nurse. You've had your challenges in this area, haven't you? Also,
I have. I mean, I woke up one day and I was in a bikini at the beach, and my cousin called me Goodyear, and I was more than 210 pounds, and I didn't know that I was overweight, because it was an emotional, it was emotional eating from trauma when I was a little girl. But I would like to give a practical tip.
Yes.
When you have all the beautiful information that these ladies gave you on your table, there's one thing that you can do that can help you begin to build a really healthy relationship with food. And I usually don't share this, only in my webinars, but I'm going to share it today. And I invite you to do the butt bump check-in. You're like, Nori, what is the butt bump check-in? That is, the minute your butt bumps the chair, that's your cue to go, okay, how hungry am I? I'm starving. How much do I want to eat? I want to eat to satisfied. Okay, good. Go ahead and do that. Butt bump check-in. How hungry am I? Oh, I'm kind of hungry, but that thing happened with my husband. And well, how much do you want to eat? I want to eat until I'm stuffed. And then go ahead and eat until you're stuffed. But every time you do the check-in, the minute your butt touches the chair, you're bringing yourself into the present moment. And little by little, you're going to make a choice not to go to being stuffed. You're going to savor each moment and be able to compare how you feel being satisfied and how you feel being stuffed. So, so I would love you to do the butt bump check-in.
I love that title. Tamara, can I add to that?
Yes, please do.
So it reminds me of a technique that I use called the hunger scale. So it's similar. You from a 1 to 10, you do the butt chair bump, and then think like that's when you use the hunger scale. How hungry am I really? And you assess that based on a 1 to 10 scale. I wanted to also say about habits earlier. I meant to mention this. I agree with who was talking about habits, the word habit.
Nori. Nori was.
And I thought that was really well said. One of the things that it happens to all of us is if we keep on doing what we're doing, we're going to keep on getting what we get. And habits are related to that, right? Because that's really related to, if you shift your habits, then you could shift to something that better serves you. But what I wanted to say about the habits is habits can be good too. So that phrase, if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always gotten. That can also be good habits, So think of it that way. That adjust. And what word, Nori, did you say to use instead of habits?
Actually, I didn't have a word for it. And I was trying to reference the emotion that sometimes we feel when we realize we've had a habit that hasn't been good for us. So I don't think the word habit is bad, but if you're just coming to the realization of, oh my God, I've been eating all that for that long, and you get that knot in your gut, I want you to take a breath and be easy about it. And
great.
Okay. I would love to talk for a moment, though, about the subconscious mind. Very often, habits are born from what we learn from 0 to 7 years old, when we're in our mother's womb until we're 7. and we listen and we take in things and we take on things that if we were old enough and more developed, we might not have taken on as our own, right? Something the family does, something Aunt Mabel does, something your mother did, right? And now it's not really serving you. So it could be your relationship with food, that it's just a family thing. I mean, it was a family thing, in my household. And sometimes we just have this tape in our subconscious mind that keeps looping around and looping around and looping around. And that can be addressed by doing affirmations. That's a little bit of the long road, but it could also be addressed with coaches who do guided imagery or hypnotherapy. I mean, and that's really the fast route. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you for clarifying.
And then Cheryl, did you have something that you wanted to share as a tip? Action step. You are on. There you go.
One thing that we're all talking about is talk to your body. I was shocked at how smart my body is. And when I started talking every morning, I do it every morning. I say, how do you feel and what do you need from me today? And if I get quiet and I let it talk to me, my goodness, it can direct what I'm going to do with my whole day in terms of all my habits. Did I get enough sleep? Have I been doing stress breathing? Am I eating the right foods? Did I eat something that has caused me to react and get inflammation? Your body will tell you, and it will tell you when it's feeling good, and it really feels good to feel good. So start to listen to your body.
Yes. And on the note of, listening to the body and putting the healthy things in, can I make a suggestion, a simple tool?
Sure.
Tamara? And if you've got a photo of a tower garden, flash it up here.
I don't. I'm so sorry.
No worries. So for 12 years, I've been growing aeroponically, and I'm a produce pusher. I've got simple tools for getting real plants in your body through pulverized produce that's concentrated, also through helping you grow your own food. And what many of you may or may not know is that most of the food we're buying is really nutrient deficient. And you can see that in the color of food. So you go to the grocery store, you buy a strawberry, it's pretty white all the way through. You buy tomatoes these days and they're pale. And that's evidence of lack of nutrition. They're picked unripe so that there's time to ship. They're chemically ripened, and they just don't have the full benefit of the sun and the soil, all the nutrients, all through ripeness. So if you grow your own, you pick it and eat it. It's almost like the vibration in that food is entering your body, that energy that Nori was talking about. So I recommend, taking a look at a tower garden. I can certainly help you with that, but it's really rewarding. And if you have children, what a great way to show them that they can actually grow their own food from a seed and then pick and eat it. So it's farm to table, from your backyard. So I would encourage you to, even if a ground garden, whatever way you can grow your own food and have more control over it, because not only are we getting food that's not very nutritious, it's a lot more expensive. So I just wanted to mention that's a simple tool.
Yeah, and I wanted to add on that too. Caprice is one of my holistic doctors taught me this, and I really think it shifted me. Is he said that you should never mix, and I never knew this. You should never mix fruit with vegetables. He said when you eat your fruit either an hour before or an hour after. So don't make salads that have fruits and vegetables together, because when you eat fruits and vegetables together, it keeps your body in an acidic state. If you eat them an hour apart, it keeps your body in an alkaline balance. So that was something I never knew, and started doing that. And it really shifted my inflammation. So that's one key that I learned. Number two, off of what Nori said, is body image. And so the trauma that comes in from the time we're born, my show is called The Connection Show, connecting the good, the bad, and the ugly, taking those dots and taking it back to do burden release work, which is some stuff that I do with people. But the body image one, like Nori said about your body, I literally did not know I had a body image issue. And so all of a sudden I started to look into a mirror, and as an exercise, start connecting my body, like looking and saying, I love my eyes because it helps me to see you. I love my ears because I can hear you. I love my arms because it helps me to hug you. I love my abdomen because it holds my organs together. So start connecting your body. That helps you to heal from body image issues.
Awesome. Awesome. We are basically out of time, but I am going to add one last thing here because it's something that I learned actually from Cheryl, and that is drink your water. And yes, Tour of Love show. And this is a canister that actually she said that's the best you can have. It's got stainless steel in here. What you're drinking your water out of, also be aware, but be drinking and hydrating your water, something that Helene said. And I wanted to say a special shout out to Helene for welcoming everybody that came to the show, that she was drinking hers with lemon. And I've been doing the same thing too the last few weeks. And I am feeling pretty good. We have had an amazing show today. You guys are all wonderful. Everybody that's been watching, please do write down their names. Do go to YouTube. I will be loading contact information there. You'll be able to get a hold of them. And in the meantime, come back next week. We are going to have another fabulous panel, and you'll learn much then too. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.